Missy Peters. I'm the owner of Missys. Missys is a little bit of an eclectic art studio here in Marshalltown. We're located in the Meadow Lane Mall, and we've been open for almost 10 years now. I opened in March of 2006, so this coming March will be my 10-year anniversary, and we're really looking forward to that, because really, honestly, when I started this business, it was just kind of a little bit on a whim. I had no idea if a paint-your-own pottery studio would actually fly in Marshalltown. I did a lot of market research, and a lot of the experts told me that we didn't have the right demographics in Marshalltown to make it happen. But I was in a job that I enjoyed, but it wasn't as satisfying as I would have liked. And I just decided that I had gotten my art degree from Grinnell College, and I really didn't feel like I was utilizing it to its fullest potential. So back in 2006, I just started exploring options and locations to start Missys. I'd always kind of had it in the back of my mind that I wanted my own art studio, and I even had the name Missy kind of in mind for a long time, because I thought it was something unique and a little catchy. And that's turned out to be true. I think the appeal, my primary audience, of course, is kids. I get a lot of 8, 9, 10-year-olds that come in and paint, and I think the name Missy fits that group. So we do paint your own pottery, and I've expanded that into doing a lot of custom work. I do any kind of mural or design work. I do some graphic design work as well. And then I've recently gotten into repurposing old furniture and old pieces. We do sell the pieces as is, but then if you would like to come in and pick something out and customize it, I will paint. I can do wood burning and painting on it, or just flat out paint it and make it something that's a little more appealing and a little more special to that person. If it's an old piece, we can try to repurpose it. I do a lot with barn boards and just mainly old furniture pieces. We take old tables and old chairs and can really do some fun stuff with them. And I really like that trend. I don't like the disposable generation where we kind of buy things and throw it away. I love the fact that we're taking older pieces and redoing it and not just throwing them in the landfill. I love working with kids. Probably because I'm a little bit of a kid myself. Don't know if I've ever grown up, but it's just really nice to see kids express themselves. When I work with a group, I'm having a painting camp right now, for example, or when a group comes in here to paint, I will get them going and give them some real basics and help them get started. But in general, I think it's fun to see the kids grab the paintbrush and just take off with it. Somewhere as we get older, we lose that inhibition and that ability to just go for it. And as adults, we're a lot more concerned with how things should be and if this is right, if this is wrong. Kids never ask that question when I'm working with them. They never say, is this okay? Is this okay? They just go for it. And I've worked with both, because I do a lot of painting parties for adult women as well. That's another avenue of my business that's kind of really exploded in the last year. We do canvas and social canvas type parties where women get together, or men too. I don't want to be excluding anyone, but we get groups of people together and everybody paints the same painting together, and I lead them through that step by step. It's very popular for women to get together and do that, and I have kid groups that do it as well. But I do notice there's a huge difference between working with adults and working with the kids, because the kids do feel a lot freer with their art and freer with their expression, whereas the adults are a little more inhibited and want to keep it tighter and ask me all the time if this is right. So my joy in teaching is just getting to see somebody enjoy art, and I think I love art. I love painting. That's why I opened Missys. I wanted to be able to get up every day and paint and express myself. So I love being able to provide a forum where somebody else can do that too. I've done this 5 years now, this contest with the State Fair. The first one was a butter cow. It was 5 years ago. It was the 100th anniversary of the butter cow at the State Fair. So I think the State Fair, in particular Tanya Cook, who is a communications specialist with the State Fair, kind of came up with this contest to honor the butter cow. They went out and got 100 artists to paint 100 different concrete butter cows, and then they awarded prizes for that. So the first year that I did it, it was really about the prestige of getting in the contest, because it was very selective and artists from all over submitted designs, and only 100 were chosen to be in the contest. So that first year for me, it was just more about getting in the contest. I never dreamt that I would win anything. I ended up getting honorable mention, so basically a 4th place finish, which I was really thrilled with, because there was just some wonderful artwork there. And there's 2 divisions, there's professional and novice. because I have my own art studio, I qualify in the professional division. So I was thrilled to even place. I think because the contest was wildly successful for the state fair, they have since offered it every year, and each year it's a different concrete item. And I think they try to kind of tie it into the theme maybe of the fair. So this year I know in their advertising campaign they're featuring the horse that's a tour guide. They've got a couple other animals, but the horse is a signature piece on their advertising campaign. So I think that's why they've chosen a concrete horse as the statue to paint this year. The state fair charges a $125 entry fee. That $125 basically is the cost, I believe, of the statue. So you enter your design. When you're notified that you're selected, you pay your $125. I've been fortunate to have a sponsor the last several years, so I've had somebody that's paid my $125 entry fee, and then that sponsor also keeps the statue, which is neat too, because I'm not sure what I would be doing with all these big concrete items in my yard. So I'm glad that they're going to new homes that love them and want them. So we pay our entry fee, and then we make arrangements to pick up the statue at a company in Johnston, Iowa. It's called Created in Johnston. So we go down there, pick up the statue, and bring it back and work on it. And then there's a deadline when it needs to be turned back into the state fair. The second year we did one, it was an ice cream cone. And I think maybe that particular sculpture may have gotten away from them, because that thing weighed, in the ballpark, I'm going to guess, of about 700 pounds. So to get it to my studio and get it back, I was extremely fortunate to be neighbors with the Hy-Vee drugstore, because they allowed me to use their forklift to get it in and out. I really don't know what other artists did, because it was such a massive piece. That one now actually resides at the Center Street Dairy Queen here in Marshalltown. It's by their door, because Matt, the owner there, was a generous sponsor of my piece. So since the ice cream cone year, I think they've scaled them down a little bit to make them more workable for the artist. Okay. The contest usually gets announced in May, or it comes out that they start publicizing that they're doing it, and here's the piece this year, and submit your entry. So that's usually sometime in May, and then we picked mine up in early June. So I basically did have June, and then it had to be turned in at the end of July. So I had basically all of June and July to work on it. I was a little bit of a procrastinator though, and I really didn't work on it until that last week or so, because the horse itself really just didn't appeal to me. There wasn't a lot of concrete to work with this year. Obviously it's a very three-dimensional piece when you're working with a sculpture. It just had kind of skinny legs and a skinny body, and compared to maybe previous years, last year, for example, was really honestly a piece of cake. It was the state of Iowa, a flat cutout of the state of Iowa. So for me, that was it was almost like working with a canvas, because you just had a two-sided concrete piece, same thing as a canvas. This year, it's definitely more of a animal, you can tell, and a lot of rough detail on the concrete itself, so that did not lend itself well to flat two-dimensional artwork to go on smoothly. So I basically had it sitting in my back room in the shop, looking at it every day, just looking at it, trying to figure out what design looked good in my mind that I could put on this item. So it started off, I like P. Buckley Moss. She's an artist that does a lot of Amish drawings and paintings. She's done even a few Iowa State Fair paintings. So I kind of researched her and used her maybe as my original inspiration. So that was my initial sketches that I submitted to the State Fair, was basically going to be an Amish horse and buggy type scene with a very heavily P. Buckley Moss influence. Once I got it, kind of got started on it. I had Iowa Public Television come here in June to the State Fair, had given them my name to recommend to come and film an artist doing it. So I went ahead and started painting on it for them. And after the day of filming, it wasn't coming together for me. I didn't like the colors I'd chosen, even though they were definitely reminiscent of P. Buckley Moss. They just weren't grabbing me. They weren't doing it for me. So I lived with that design for a while and had it about a quarter of the way done, maybe, after that filming with Iowa Public Television. And so then I really thought about it and started doing a little more research, and I just decided this year it was a horse let's pay tribute to the horse itself. So I found a lot of different paintings of scenes of working horses, cowboys working, cattle, working the ranch, just horses working, because the horse is a beautiful animal. So they're clearly very popular at the state fair. There's a lot of horse contests and a lot of people with their horses. So I thought this would be a much better, maybe a better fit, is to pay tribute to the horses that these people that show them and bring them to the state fair they would appreciate that. So kind of went a whole different direction, ended up painting over the horse and buggy scene that I had started and went with the working horse theme. Tanya in the state fair is pretty generous, and I guess maybe because I've done it now 5 years and have been fairly successful in the contest, I think maybe they cut me a little leeway or cut me a little slack and let me go ahead and bring a design that isn't exactly to the sketch that I submit. So, and I appreciate that, because I don't know if other artists go through that, but you can have an idea, and sometimes that first idea isn't the best one, and that's why you keep working on it and kind of plow through the project. I was very pleased. More than anything, I wasn't a fan of the colors I had chosen originally to do the P. Buckley Moss type image. I just felt at the state fair in that setting, and they're not big statues this year, they're actually kind of scaled down in comparison to some in the past. I felt like it would just get completely lost sitting on the ground. So more than anything, the color scheme is what I really wanted to change, because it needed to be something way more striking, way more dramatic than what I had originally started off with. I always put my own twist. Even if you were to do the American Gothic, you always, as an artist, put your own twist on that painting. It's just, all art is pretty much inspired by somebody else's or something that you've seen in nature. So it's just your interpretation and your view of it. And definitely when I paint, I am pretty much an impressionistic painter. I mean, you're gonna look at what I paint and know what the subject matter is, but it's not gonna be a photographic realism rendering of that exact item. So definitely influenced more by the impressionists than I am any kind of realist painter. We did receive word last night that I did win the contest. So I don't know if I'm sure the State Fair will send out a press release today. So I've won first again for the third year in a row. So I'm thinking maybe it's time to retire from the contest, go out on top. I said that last year when I won. So it's such a fun thing though. I don't know. And I love the state fair. I grew up going to the state fair. The state fair is my vacation every year. So I don't know if I could give it up, because it's fun to be a part of the state fair in that way. But yet on the other hand, I have won 3 times, so I think maybe that's good enough for now. I don't know the exact specific location, but in years past, if history repeats itself, which I'm assuming the state fair is doing the same thing, they usually place the 2 winners, the winner of the novice and the professional category, are somewhere near the entrance of the ag building, the Butter Cow building. So it should be somewhere around that Pioneer Ag building. I do once or twice a month one of our canvas parties. I always post all of that information on Facebook. It typically falls on a Thursday night. So I just encourage people that might be interested in doing a canvas party to follow me on Facebook, Missys on Facebook, and I post them all the time, and how to sign up and what painting we'll be replicating. As far as classes for the ceramics aspect of it, summer's pretty much our big time, and we are concluding our last session of the summer this week. But we always do a lot of stuff in the fall. I'll do another paint camp as well over the winter Christmas break for kids. But you're welcome anytime to just come in the studio. We're open 10 to 6 pretty much daily, and you're welcome to come in. You don't need an appointment or anything like that. You can just walk in, and we'll get you set up on a ceramics piece, and you can start painting. If you do want to do like a canvas session and do that in a one-on-one where we're working together, I do require a reservation for that. But yeah, I'm happy to work with just single people as well on working, creating a canvas or a painting they would like. So anytime, just give me a call at the studio and we can set up a time for that. But the ceramics part of it is wide open, and you're welcome to come in and paint anytime you'd like.